Greetings, Earthlings. I am Overseer Karg of the Codex Assembly. We observe and archive records from across different realities. Everything becomes data, even your world. Today I am reading Chapter 1 of Cataclysm Codex, Earth Rewritten. This is a recovered record from your timeline. If you find this interesting, subscribe, and comment. All responses are recorded. The sky over Oklahoma looked wrong. Ethan Cole noticed it before anyone else in the parking lot, though he couldn't have explained why at first. It wasn't darker, not exactly, and it wasn't storming either. The sun still hung where it should, a pale disk behind a thin haze, but the light felt flattened, like someone had taken the world and pressed it between two sheets of glass. "Hey, you zoning out again?" Marcus said, snapping his fingers in front of Ethan's face. Ethan blinked and looked away from the sky. "You don't see that?" "See what?" "Clouds." Marcus followed his gaze, squinting. "Dude, it's Oklahoma. The sky's always ugly." "It's not the clouds," Ethan muttered. "It's the light." Marcus gave him a look. "You've officially lost it." A few feet away, Lylan Gwynn was leaning against the hood of her car, scrolling through her phone. "Signal's trash again," she said without looking up. "It dropped like 5 minutes ago." "That's because you're glued to it," Marcus shot back. Phone finally gave up. Lila ignored him, frowning slightly. "No, seriously. It's not just data. Everything's down. No bars at all." Ethan's attention snapped to her. "All networks." "Yeah." She finally looked up, her expression sharper now. "Why?" Before Ethan could answer, a low vibration rolled through the ground beneath their feet. It wasn't strong. No violent shaking, no dramatic cracks splitting the asphalt, but it was steady, deep, like something massive shifting far below them. Marcus frowned. "Okay, that's new." The vibration pulsed again. Ethan felt it in his chest this time, a strange resonance that made his heartbeat stutter for a fraction of a second. Around them, other people in the parking lot began to notice. Conversations faltered. A car alarm chirped weakly, then died mid-wail. "Is that an earthquake?" Lila asked. "In Oklahoma?" Marcus said. "What? Did California finally send us a care package?" Ethan didn't laugh. His eyes were fixed on the far edge of the lot, where the pavement met a stretch of open grass. The ground there was moving. Not shaking, moving. The grass rippled outward in a perfect circle, as if something beneath it were pushing up from below. The soil bulged, rising inch by inch, forming a dome roughly the size of a small house. Marcus said slowly. "Tell me I'm not seeing that." "You're seeing it," Ethan replied. The dome split. There was no explosion, no spray of dirt. The earth simply parted along clean, precise lines, forming a hexagonal pattern that folded outward like the petals of a mechanical flower. The grass remained intact on each segment, as though it had been cut with impossible precision. At the center, darkness waited. Not shadow, darkness. It was too complete, too absolute, like a hole punched through reality itself. The edges of the opening were smooth, almost polished, descending straight down into a depth that swallowed the light. No one spoke. No one moved. Then something shifted inside the darkness. A faint glow emerged, pulsing softly, casting dim, unnatural light up the sides of the opening. Shapes became visible, stone walls, perfectly carved, forming a descending corridor that spiraled into the earth. "That's not real," Marcus whispered, but it was. More tremors rolled through the ground, stronger this time. Across the horizon, similar ruptures began to appear, small at first, then widening, multiplying. Ethan could see at least 3 more from where he stood, each one opening with the same impossible precision. Lila took a step back. "We need to leave. Now." "For once I agree," Marcus said, already turning toward his car. Ethan didn't move. He couldn't. Something was pulling at him, not physically but mentally. A pressure at the edge of his thoughts, like a word he almost remembered, or a sound just beyond hearing. The glow from the opening intensified, and then it appeared. A translucent panel flickered into existence in front of Ethan's eyes. He flinched, stumbling back a step. "What the—" "Ethan," Lila said. "What's wrong? You don't see this?" he asked, staring at the floating display. Marcus frowned. "See what?" "Dude, we need to go." The panel sharpened, symbols rearranging themselves into something he could understand. "Welcome, Challenger." Ethan's breath caught. "Earth has been designated Dungeon World. Initialization in progress." A second panel blinked into existence beside the first, smaller, more focused. "Individual status pending. Please stand by." "This isn't happening," Ethan said under his breath. "Ethan." Lila grabbed his arm. "Snap out of it." He tore his eyes away from the panels and looked at her. But even then, the translucent text hovered at the edge of his vision, refusing to disappear. "I'm seeing something," he said quickly. "Like a screen. In the air." Marcus froze. "Wait. You too?" Lila asked. Marcus swallowed. "Yeah." For a moment, the three of them just stared at each other. Then, as one, they turned back toward the opening. The glow inside had grown brighter, and something was climbing out. A hand, if it could be called that, gripped the edge of the hexagonal opening. It was too long, too thin, its surface a mix of chitin and stone, segments shifting slightly as it moved. Another limb followed, then a head. It pulled itself into view with slow, deliberate motion, revealing a body that didn't belong to any world they understood. Its form twisted subtly, as if not fully committed to a single shape, and its surface reflected the dim light in fractured patterns. Marcus took a step back. "Nope, absolutely not." Lila didn't speak. Her grip on Ethan's arm tightened. The creature tilted its head, and then it looked directly at them. The panels in Ethan's vision flickered again. "Warning. Hostile entity detected." And for the first time since the world began to change, Ethan felt something cold and certain settle in his chest. This wasn't just happening. It was starting. The creature moved first. It didn't lunge or roar. There was no dramatic burst of speed, no cinematic warning. One moment it was perched at the edge of the opening, its fractured surface catching the dim light, and the next it was simply closer. Too close. Marcus swore and stumbled backward, nearly tripping over the curb. "Okay. Nope, we are leaving." "Move." Lila snapped, yanking Ethan with her. Ethan's body reacted a second too late. His eyes were still locked on the thing as it unfolded itself fully onto the pavement. Its limbs lengthened with a wet, grinding sound, joints forming and reforming as if its skeleton couldn't decide on a structure. The surface of its body shifted between matte stone and glossy chitin, catching reflections that didn't match the world around it. Error. Form classification. Unstable. The words flashed across Ethan's vision, sharp and insistent. The creature took another step. The asphalt beneath its limb cracked, not from weight, but from contact, as if the material itself couldn't withstand its presence. Fine fractures spread outward in branching patterns. "Ethan!" Lila shouted. "That broke it." He turned and ran. They sprinted across the parking lot, the distant sounds of panic rising around them as more people noticed what was happening. Car doors slammed. Engines roared to life. Tires screeched. Somewhere, someone was screaming. Behind them, the thing moved again. Ethan didn't hear footsteps. He heard displacement. A rush of air. A pressure shift. Then Marcus shouted, "It's right behind us." Ethan risked a glance. It was not running, sliding. Its body elongated, parts of it stretching forward while others lagged behind, like a reflection catching up to itself. The distance between them was shrinking far too quickly. Warning. Hostile entity engaging. Suggested action. Evade or counter. Counter with what? Ethan yelled. Less talking, more running. Marcus shot back. They reached Marcus's car. A battered sedan that suddenly looked far too small to be any kind of safety. Marcus fumbled with his keys. Come on, come on. The creature lunged. This time, Ethan saw it happen. Its limbs snapped forward, extending far beyond what should have been possible, segments locking into place mid-motion. The tip of it sharpened, forming a jagged spike aimed straight at Marcus's back. Down! Ethan shouted. He didn't think. He moved. Ethan slammed into Marcus, knocking him sideways just as the spike struck. It hit the trunk of the car with a sound like metal tearing, punching straight through and embedding deep into the frame. Marcus hit the ground hard. What the? Keys! Lila yelled. I'm trying. The creature's limb retracted, tearing free from the car with a screech of twisted metal. The hole it left behind smoked faintly, the edges blackened as if burned. Ethan scrambled to his feet, his heart hammering. Status initialization complete. The panel in his vision flared bright, forcing itself into focus. Name, Ethan Cole. Level 1. Class, unassigned. Tributes, locked. Skills, none. Now is not the time, he snapped. Another panel appeared, overlapping the first. Emergency condition detected. Temporary function unlock. Basic interface. A third panel. Available action. Analyze. Ethan hesitated for half a second. Then he focused on the creature. The world seemed to narrow, his vision tunneling as the interface responded. Target analysis initiated. The creature flickered. For a split second, its shifting form stabilized, lines tracing over its body, highlighting segments, joints, weak points that weren't visible before. Entity. Fractured crawler. Threat level. Unknown. Stability. Low. Core integrity. Variable. Suggestion. Destabilized form. What does that even mean? Ethan muttered. Get in the car. Marcus shouted. The engine roared to life. Lila yanked the passenger door open. Ethan. The creature lunged again. Ethan didn't think this time. He grabbed the first thing his hand touched, a loose chunk of broken asphalt near his feet, and hurled it. It wasn't a strong throw. It wasn't precise. But the moment the rock left his hand, something shifted. A faint line appeared in his vision, tracing the arc of the throw. The rock struck the creature's side. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, the surface where it hit rippled. Not like flesh, like glass. A sharp, ringing crack echoed through the air as a fracture spread across its body, thin but unmistakable. The creature recoiled. Error. Structural instability increasing. Ethan stared. Oh! Ethan! Lila screamed. The creature recovered instantly, its form shifting again, the fracture sealing as new layers slid over it. But now he understood. Hit it! He shouted, diving into the car. Anywhere. Just hit it. Marcus didn't argue. He slammed the car into reverse. The tires screeched as the sedan lurched backward, straight into the creature. The impact wasn't clean. It was wrong. The front of the car passed partially through the creature's lower body before slamming into something solid within it. A shock wave rippled outward, distorting the air. The creature shrieked, a high, metallic sound that scraped against Ethan's ears. More fractures appeared. Not enough. Again, Ethan yelled. I'm trying not to die. Marcus snapped, shifting gears. The creature surged forward, its limbs snapping out once more. This time it hit the side of the car. Metal crumpled inward. Glass shattered. Lila cried out as the door beside her dented violently. Warning. Vehicle integrity compromised. No kidding, Marcus shouted. The engine roared as he slammed the accelerator. The car shot forward, barely clearing the creature's reach as its limbs struck the ground where they'd been a second before, punching another hole into the asphalt. They sped out of the parking lot, tires screeching as Marcus took the turn far too fast. For a few seconds, no one spoke. Then Lila let out a shaky breath. Is it following us? Ethan twisted in his seat, looking back. The creature stood at the edge of the lot, its form still shifting, fractures slowly sealing. It didn't chase them. It watched. And even at a distance, Ethan felt it. That same pressure at the edge of his mind, like something reaching out. The panel in his vision flickered one more time. First encounter complete. Reward pending. Ethan sank back into his seat, his hands trembling. "This is real," he said quietly. No one argued. Behind them, the world continued to crack open. They didn't stop driving. Not when they hit the main road. Not when they passed the first wreck. Not even when the sky flickered again, that same subtle distortion bending the light into something unnatural. Marcus gripped the wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white. "Someone tell me what the plan is." "Drive," Lila said immediately. "Drive where?" he shot back. "Because everywhere looks like it's falling apart." Ethan leaned forward slightly, staring through the windshield. The town he'd known his entire life felt misaligned. Familiar buildings stood where they should, but something about them felt off, like props on a stage that had been rearranged without warning. "There," Ethan said, pointing ahead. "The high school." Marcus frowned. "Why there?" "It's open space. Fewer people." "Fewer." He hesitated. "Things." Lila nodded. "He's right. Less chance of getting boxed in." Marcus didn't look convinced, but he didn't argue. He swerved around an abandoned pickup truck sitting sideways in the road, one of its doors hanging open. As they passed it, Ethan caught a glimpse of something inside. Movement. A hand, human, gripping the edge of the seat. "Keep going," Ethan said quickly. Marcus didn't ask. They drove another block before the road ahead split. Literally. A jagged crack tore across the asphalt, stretching from one side of the street to the other. It wasn't wide, maybe a foot across, but it pulsed faintly with that same dim glow they'd seen in the opening. Marcus slammed the brakes. The car skidded, stopping just short of the crack. "Okay," he said slowly. "That's new." The glow intensified. Ethan felt it again, that pull. Not from behind this time. From below. The crack widened with a low, grinding sound, the edges separating smoothly, almost deliberately. The asphalt peeled back, revealing darkness beneath. "Nope," Marcus said, already shifting into reverse. Too late. The ground dropped. Not collapsed, dropped. The entire section of road in front of them sank downward like an elevator, carrying chunks of asphalt, street signs, and a parked car with it. The descent was smooth, controlled, until it vanished into the darkness below. Silence followed. Then, a distant sound. Scraping. Climbing. "Go!" Lila snapped. Marcus didn't hesitate. He slammed the gas, the car jerking backward before spinning around in a tight, messy turn. As they sped away, something emerged from the pit. Ethan saw it in the side mirror. Not one creature. Many. Smaller than the first, their bodies more defined but no less unnatural. They moved in clusters, climbing over each other as they reached the surface, their limbs clicking against the asphalt in rapid, uneven rhythms. Swarm-type entities detected. Threat level moderate. Suggestion: avoid group engagement. "Yeah, no argument there," Ethan muttered. Marcus pushed the car harder, the engine whining in protest as they tore down the road. Up ahead, the school came into view. A wide, low building surrounded by open fields and a sprawling parking lot. For a moment it looked untouched. Normal. Then Ethan saw the doors. 3 of them stood in the lot. Tall, black, silent, each one humming faintly. "We've got a problem," he said. Marcus followed his gaze. "That's not a problem. That's 3 problems." Lila leaned forward between the seats. "We can't stop here." "We're not stopping," Marcus said. "We're passing through." As they approached, Ethan felt the pressure spike. The doors weren't open, but they were active. The symbols carved into their surfaces shifted slowly, rearranging themselves in patterns that made his head ache if he looked too long. Then one of them reacted. The center door pulsed. A low hum deepened into a resonant tone that vibrated through the car. The surface of it rippled, like liquid metal disturbed by an unseen force. Marcus swore. Tell me it's not opening. It opened. Not wide. Just enough. A thin vertical line appeared down its center, glowing faintly as the structure began to unfold. Floor it! Lila shouted. Marcus didn't need telling twice. The car surged forward. As they passed the doors, Ethan couldn't help but look. Inside the narrow opening, he saw movement. Not creatures. Not exactly. Shapes. Figures. Humanoid but wrong. Too still. Too aligned. As if they were waiting rather than living. And then one of them turned. Even through the barely open door, Ethan felt it. That same impossible sensation of being seen across a distance that shouldn't exist. His vision flickered. New objective available. Survive initial phase. Reward, variable. Time limit, unknown. Great, Marcus muttered. Love vague instructions. They cleared the school lot and kept going, leaving the doors behind. For now, the road ahead stretched out, empty for a few precious seconds. Then, in the distance, Ethan saw it. A group of people, at least a dozen, gathered near an overturned bus. Some were injured, some were standing guard, and one of them glowed, not brightly but enough to stand out. A faint aura clung to their body, shifting like heat haze. Do you see that? Ethan asked. Lila leaned forward. Yeah. Marcus squinted. Is that a person? I think so, Ethan said. As they got closer, the glowing figure turned toward them and raised a hand, not in warning, in signal. Slow down, Ethan said. Marcus hesitated. You sure? No, Ethan admitted. But they're not attacking. Lila exhaled. That's already better than everything else we've seen. Marcus eased off the gas, the car slowing as they approached the group. The glowing figure stepped forward. A woman, maybe mid-20s. Her eyes locked onto the car with a focus that felt almost unnatural. As they came to a stop, she spoke, her voice clear, steady, and carrying far too easily over the distance. You saw the interface, didn't you? Ethan exchanged a glance with Marcus and Lila. Then he nodded. Yeah. The woman studied them for a moment. Then she gave a small, grim smile. Good, she said. That means you're not useless. Marcus blinked. Wow, comforting. The woman ignored him. My name's Arya Voss, she said. Level 3. Ethan's heart skipped. Level 3. How? He started. Arya cut him off. No time for that yet, she said, glancing back toward the road behind them, toward the things that were still coming. If you want to live, you're going to need to learn fast. Her gaze returned to Ethan. And you? She added, her eyes narrowing slightly. Already started. Ethan frowned. What do you mean? Arya's smile sharpened. You analyzed one, she said. Didn't you? Ethan didn't answer right away. He didn't need to. The flicker in his eyes, the hesitation, that was enough. Arya Voss exhaled slowly, like she just confirmed something important. Yeah, she said. I thought so. Marcus crossed his arms. Okay, I'm officially lost. What are we talking about? The interface, Arya replied. Not everyone gets the same functions right away. Most people just see the basics, name, level, maybe a notification or two. Her gaze stayed on Ethan. But you got analyze early. Ethan frowned. You're saying that's rare? I'm saying, Arya said. It's useful. And right now, useful is the difference between breathing and not. Lila stepped out of the car, scanning the area. The overturned bus sat at an angle, its windows shattered, luggage scattered across the road. A few people huddled nearby, some clutching injuries, others gripping makeshift weapons. Pipes, broken boards, anything they could find. They're hurt, Lila said quietly. Yeah, Arya replied. And more will be if we don't move. A distant clicking sound echoed down the road. Not one. Many. Marcus winced. Please tell me that's not what I think it is. It is, Arya said flatly. Swarm types. Smaller than the one you ran into, but faster in groups. They'll surround you if you give them the chance. Ethan glanced back the way they'd come. The road was still empty for now, but that wouldn't last. How long do we have? He asked. Arya tilted her head slightly, listening. 2 minutes, she said. Maybe less. Marcus threw his hands up. Great. Fantastic. Love that for us. So what's the plan? Oh, fearless level 3. Arya ignored the tone. We fall back to the building, she said, nodding toward a low structure just beyond the bus. A convenience store with its front windows cracked but still mostly intact. Fewer entry points. Easier to defend. And then what? Marcus asked. Then we don't die, she said. That's not a plan, he muttered. It's step 1, Arya shot back. Ethan stepped out of the car, his eyes scanning the group. How many can fight? 3, Arya said immediately. For if you count me, the rest are liabilities right now. Hey! One of the injured men protested weakly. Prove me wrong, Arya said without looking at him. The man didn't respond. Ethan clenched his jaw. Harsh but not wrong. All right, he said. We move everyone into the store. Barricade what we can. Then, he hesitated. Then what? The system flickered in his vision, as if responding to the thought. Objective updated. Defend against hostile wave. Reward. Experience plus variable. Failure condition. Termination. Then we hold. Ethan finished. Arya's eyes flicked toward him. You just got that too, didn't you? He nodded once. Her expression hardened. Good. That means it's confirmed. Marcus groaned. I really hate that word right now. Move. Arya snapped. That broke the moment. Everyone started moving at once. Lila and Ethan helped a woman to her feet, supporting her between them as they hurried toward the store. Marcus and another guy dragged a stack of fallen debris toward the entrance, already thinking ahead to barricades. Arya stayed at the rear, watching the road. The clicking grew louder, faster. They're close, she called. Ethan reached the store entrance and shoved the door open. The interior was dim but intact. Shelves still standing, aisles mostly clear. In here, he shouted. People rushed inside, stumbling over each other in their haste. Marcus grabbed a metal shelf and tipped it over near the entrance. Help me with this. Ethan set the injured woman down gently and joined him, pushing the shelf into place to block part of the doorway. Lila dragged a display rack over, adding to the barrier. This won't hold long, she said. It doesn't have to, Arya replied, stepping inside last. It just has to slow them down. She turned, peering through the gaps in the barricade. Positions, she said. If you can swing something, you're up front. If not, stay back and stay quiet. Marcus grabbed a length of pipe, testing its weight. I can't believe this is happening. Ethan didn't respond. He was watching the entrance, waiting. The sound hit first. A rapid, skittering chorus, like claws scraping over stone and metal. Then they appeared. Dozens of them, smaller than the fractured crawler, each about the size of a large dog, their bodies low to the ground and segmented. Their limbs moved too fast, blurring as they swarmed forward in a tight, coordinated mass. Swarm type, Razor Scuttlers, level 1 to 2. Threat, moderate. Group, weakness. Joint clusters / underbody. Ethan exhaled slowly. Joints, he said. Aim for the joints, and underneath if they flip. Marcus tightened his grip on the pipe. Got it. The first of the creatures slammed into the barricade. Wood splintered. Metal groaned. The line held. Barely. Here we go, Arya said. The second wave hit harder. A clawed limb forced its way through a gap, snapping at the air. Marcus swung without hesitation, the pipe connecting with a sharp crack. The limb shattered at the joint, the creature recoiling with a high-pitched screech. It didn't fall, but it slowed. That worked, Marcus said, half surprised. Again. Ethan shouted. More limbs forced their way through. More strikes followed. The air filled with the sounds of impact, screeching, and splintering material as the swarm pressed forward. One of the creatures managed to squeeze halfway through the barricade, its body twisting unnaturally to fit the gap. Lila reacted instantly. She grabbed a fallen metal rod and drove it downward, pinning the creature through its midsection. Convulsed, limbs thrashing wildly. "Ethan!" she called. He moved without thinking. Grabbing a broken piece of wood, he slammed it into the exposed underside. The creature went still. For half a second, everything seemed to pause. Then, defeated, Razor Scuttler, plus 12 EXP. Ethan froze. "I got experience," he said. Arya didn't look back. "Yeah," she said. "You're going to want a lot more of that." The barricade cracked. A large section buckled inward under the pressure of the swarm. "They're breaking through," Marcus shouted. Arya stepped forward, her faint aura flaring slightly. "Then we stop holding," she said. Her eyes sharpened, locking onto the gap. "We push back." Arya moved before anyone else could react. She stepped into the collapsing gap as if she'd done it 100 times before, her body low, controlled, precise. The faint aura around her intensified. Not brighter, but denser, like heat condensing into something almost visible. The first Razor Scuttler that forced its way through didn't even make it fully inside. Arya struck. Her hand snapped forward, not with a weapon, but with a motion so clean it barely looked like an attack. Her fingers hit the creature at the joint cluster beneath its head. There was a sharp, brittle crack. The scuttler collapsed instantly, its body folding in on itself as if its structure had simply failed. Defeated, Razor Scuttler, plus 9 EXP. Marcus blinked. "Okay. Yeah, that's not normal." "No," Ethan said, watching closely. "It's efficient." Another scuttler lunged through the opening, its limbs scraping against the broken barricade. Arya pivoted, driving her heel down into its back. The impact didn't look powerful, but the result was immediate. Fractures spread across its shell, thin lines racing outward from the point of contact. "Joints," she said sharply. "Always the joints. Break the structure, not the mess." Ethan nodded, gripping the broken wood tighter. The swarm surged again. This time, more of them forced through at once. "Too many," Lila shouted. "Then don't let them settle." Arya snapped back. Marcus swung wildly, catching one across the side. It staggered but didn't fall, its limbs snapping toward him in retaliation. "Not helping," he yelled. "Lower," Ethan shouted. "Hit lower." Marcus adjusted mid-swing, bringing the pipe down hard on the creature's leg joint. Crack. The limb collapsed. The scuttler dropped, scrambling awkwardly. "Okay, that works," Marcus said, immediately following up with another strike that finished it. Plus 11 EXP. The numbers flashed briefly in his vision. "I just got that too," he said, breathless. "Welcome to the system," Arya muttered. Another section of the barricade gave way completely. 3 scuttlers poured through the opening, their bodies overlapping as they pushed inside. One of the injured people screamed. "Back!" Lila shouted, stepping in front of them. She swung her metal rod, catching one of the creatures mid-lunge. The impact knocked it sideways, but another slipped past, skittering low across the floor toward the group behind them. Ethan saw it. Time seemed to slow for a split second. "Analyze." The command triggered automatically. The creature's movement traced in his vision, a faint line predicting its path. He moved, not perfectly, not gracefully, but fast enough. Ethan stepped into its path and brought the wood down with everything he had. The strike landed under its body, right where the interface had highlighted. The scuttler's form buckled. It hit the ground hard, twitching. Ethan didn't hesitate this time. He struck again, and again, until it stopped moving. Plus 13 EXP. His chest rose and fell rapidly. He started, then stopped. There was no time. More coming. Arya warned. The flow hadn't stopped. If anything, it was increasing. They're piling up outside, Marcus said, glancing through the broken barricade. This is bad. This is really bad. Arya's expression tightened. Yeah, she said. This is the part where it gets worse. How is this not already worse? Marcus demanded. She didn't answer. Instead, she focused. Her aura shifted again, pulling tighter around her body, concentrating at her arms and legs. A new panel flickered briefly in Ethan's vision as he watched her. Skill activation detected. Unknown ability. Arya inhaled once, then moved. She stepped through the broken barricade. Outside. Hey! Lila shouted. What are you doing? Arya didn't look back. Buying space, she said. Then she hit them. Not one. Not two. All of them. Her movements blurred, not faster than sight, but sharper than expectation. Every strike landed exactly where it needed to, each impact producing that same cracking, destabilizing effect. The front line of scuttlers collapsed almost instantly. But there were more behind them. Always more. Ethan stepped forward, stopping just short of the opening. Ethan, don't. Lila started. They'll overwhelm her, he said. Marcus stared at him. You're not seriously thinking about going out there. Ethan didn't answer. He looked at the swarm, then at the faint lines still flickering at the edge of his vision. Prediction. Timing. Weak points. His grip tightened on the broken wood. We can't just wait, he said. Before either of them could stop him, he stepped through the gap. Outside, the air felt heavier, thicker. The sound of the swarm was louder here, almost deafening. Arya noticed him immediately. You're either brave or stupid, she said, not pausing in her movements. Still deciding, Ethan replied. A scuttler lunged toward him. He reacted, not perfectly, but better than before. He sidestepped, bringing the wood down at the joint as it passed. Crack. It stumbled. Arya finished it with a quick, precise strike. +8 EXP. She glanced at him briefly. Stay close. Got it. Behind them, the swarm shifted. Not just attacking now. Adjusting. The front line slowed, spreading slightly, while others began to circle. They're learning, Ethan said. Arya's expression darkened. Yeah, she said. They do that. The pressure in the air changed. Subtle, but undeniable. The scuttlers parted slightly, making room for something bigger. Ethan felt it before he saw it. A heavier presence. A deeper distortion in the space around them. From the center of the swarm, a new shape began to emerge. Larger, denser. Its limbs thicker, its movements slower but far more deliberate. The interface flickered violently. New entity detected. Type, unknown. Threat level, higher. Suggestion. The text glitched, then vanished. Ethan swallowed. That doesn't seem good. Arya exhaled slowly, her stance shifting. No, she said. It really doesn't. The swarm went quiet. Not completely, there was still movement, still that constant skittering, but it changed. The chaotic rush slowed into something more controlled, more deliberate. The razor scuttlers spread outward, forming a loose perimeter instead of charging blindly. They were making space. Ethan felt the shift like a drop in pressure before a storm. That's new, he muttered. Yeah, Arya said, her voice low. That's hierarchy. The larger creature stepped forward. At first glance, it looked like a scuttler, but that illusion broke almost immediately. Its body was thicker, layered with overlapping plates that moved independently of one another. Its limbs were longer, jointed differently, and where the smaller one skittered, this one placed its steps. Deliberate, controlled. Its head, or what passed for one, tilted slightly as it regarded them. Then Ethan's vision flickered. Analyze. The command triggered hard this time, like something forcing its way through. Lines snapped into place across the creature's body. But they were unstable, shifting, struggling to lock onto consistent points. Entity. Razor Scuttler, Alpha. Level? Threat. High. Stability. Reinforced. Core location. Variable. Suggestion. Disrupt coordination. Ethan's jaw tightened. It's different. I can see that, Marcus called from inside. You got anything more useful? It's controlling them, Ethan shouted back. Or at least coordinating. Arya nodded once. Makes sense. That's your response? Marcus yelled. The Alpha moved. Not fast. Not slow. Inevitable. It advanced through its own swarm, the smaller scuttlers pulling back to give it room. As it approached, the air around it seemed to distort slightly, like heat rising from asphalt, but colder. Stay focused, Arya said. It's not like the others. No kidding, Ethan muttered. The Alpha stopped about 10 feet away. For a moment nothing happened. Then it lifted one limb. The swarm reacted instantly. The scuttlers surged, not in a wave but in patterns. Some rushed forward, others flanked, a few hung back, repositioning. Left side, Ethan shouted. Arya pivoted, intercepting two that tried to circle. Ethan moved with her, trusting the faint predictive lines in his vision as he swung at a joint cluster. Crack. One down. But the others didn't hesitate. They adjusted. Another scuttler lunged low while a second came from the side. Their movements timed together. Two coordinated. Lila shouted from inside, striking at one that slipped through the gap. Ethan barely managed to block the low one, the impact jolting up his arms. The second clipped his shoulder, sending him stumbling back. Pain flared. Warning. Minor damage detected. Yeah, I noticed, he snapped. Arya stepped in, breaking the pair apart with two rapid strikes. They're sinking to it, she said. We take it down, they lose that. Marcus leaned out from the doorway, pipe in hand. Cool. How do we take down the big one that looks like it eats pipes for breakfast? Ethan focused on the Alpha again. Analyze strained, the lines flickering across its body. No stable core. No clear weak point. Just shifting layers of reinforced structure. I don't think it has a fixed weak spot, he said. Arya's expression didn't change. Then we make one. The Alpha moved again. Faster this time. It closed the distance in a sudden, heavy surge, one of its limbs snapping forward. Arya dodged cleanly, but the ground where she'd been split open, a deep gouge carved into the asphalt. Yeah, Marcus said. Definitely eats pipes. The Alpha followed through, its other limbs striking in sequence, not wild but precise. Each movement forced Arya back, limiting her space. Ethan saw the pattern. Not random. Calculated. It's hurting you, he called. I know. Arya snapped, deflecting another strike. The smaller scuttlers closed in at the edges, tightening the circle. They were being boxed in. Ethan's vision flickered again. Not a panel this time. Prompt. Adaptive response available. Condition. Active analysis plus combat engagement. Unlock temporary function? Yes/no. Ethan didn't hesitate. Yes. The world sharpened. Not slower but clearer. The Alpha's movements became easier to track, its shifting structure resolving just enough for patterns to emerge. The predictive lines in Ethan's vision multiplied, branching possibilities instead of a single path. Warning. Cognitive load increased. He ignored it. Arya, he shouted. Force it to commit. She didn't question it. She shifted her stance, stepping in instead of back. The Alpha reacted instantly, two limbs snapping down toward her in a crushing strike. She dodged, but not fully. One strike clipped her side, throwing her off balance. Arya, Lila yelled. I'm fine. Arya snapped, already moving again. But it was enough. The Alpha committed. Its structure locked for just a fraction of a second as it followed through. And Ethan saw it. Not a core, a seam, a moment where the shifting layers aligned. There, he shouted. already moving. He sprinted forward, ignoring the smaller scuttlers snapping at his legs, focusing entirely on that one point. The world narrowed. The lines converged. He jumped. It wasn't graceful. It wasn't strong. But it was enough. Ethan drove the broken wood down with everything he had, aiming for the seam just as the alpha structure shifted again. For a split second, the tip hit resistance. Then, it slipped in. A sharp, crystalline crack split through the creature's body, louder than anything before. The alpha froze. Its limbs twitched. The swarm stuttered. Error. Coordination disrupted. Arya didn't miss the moment. She was already there. Her strike landed directly on the fractured seam Ethan had opened. This time, the crack didn't stop. It spread. Fast. The alpha let out a sound. Deep, resonant, and wrong. As its entire body began to break apart along that line, the surrounding scuttlers faltered, their movements losing synchronization. Now! Arya shouted. Ethan hit it again, and again. Each strike widened the fracture, until finally, the alpha collapsed. Its body shattered into fragmented pieces that dissolved almost instantly into faint, fading light. The swarm froze, then broke. Without coordination, the remaining scuttlers scattered, their movements erratic, disorganized. Some fled, some hesitated, some kept attacking but without purpose. Defeated. Razor Scuttler Alpha, plus 120 EXP. Bonus. Coordination break. Ethan staggered back, breathing hard. That worked, he said, almost in disbelief. Arya exhaled slowly, her aura dimming slightly. Yeah, she said. It did. Behind them, the group inside the store stared in stunned silence. Marcus lowered his pipe. Okay, he said. I officially take back everything I said. Lila stepped forward, eyes wide. Ethan. He didn't respond right away, because the interface was still flickering. Not done yet. Level up available. And for the first time since this all began, he felt it. Not fear, not confusion, but something else. Something dangerous. Possibility. The battlefield went still. Not completely. There were still a few razor scuttlers twitching, a few stragglers skittering aimlessly at the edges, but the pressure was gone. That suffocating, coordinated intent had vanished the moment the alpha shattered. Ethan stood there, chest heaving, the broken piece of wood still clutched in his hand. It didn't feel like a weapon. It felt like proof. You're still alive, Marcus said from behind him, sounding almost disappointed. Wasn't sure how that was going to go. Ethan let out a shaky breath. Yeah, me neither. Arya stepped past him, scanning the area with sharp, practiced movements. Even with the fight over, she didn't relax. Don't zone out yet, she said. Stragglers are still a problem. As if on cue, one of the remaining scuttlers lunged weakly from the side. Marcus stepped forward and smashed it midair with his pipe. Crack. It dropped instantly. Okay, Marcus said, staring at it. That felt good. Plus 10 EXP. He blinked. And I'm getting used to that. Don't, Arya said. You get used to it, you get sloppy. Lila moved up beside Ethan, her eyes scanning him quickly. You're bleeding. He looked down. She was right. A shallow cut ran along his arm where one of the scuttlers had clipped him earlier. He hadn't even noticed it in the middle of everything. It's not bad, he said. That's not the point, she replied. A faint flicker crossed his vision again. Status update. Minor injury detected. Passive recovery. Active. He frowned. It says it's already healing. Lila blinked. Excuse me? System, Arya said. Basic regeneration. Slow at first, but it scales. Marcus looked between them. So we're just what? Leveling up and healing now. Arya gave him a flat look. You were there for the giant bug fight, right? Yeah. I'm still processing that part. Ethan exhaled and let the tension bleed out of his shoulders. Just a little. Then the interface pulsed again. Level up available. The words were sharper now, clearer. Waiting. He focused on them. Confirm level up? Yes/no. Do it, Arya said, noticing his expression. No reason to hold it. Ethan hesitated for half a second. Then, yes, the world shifted. Not visually, internally. A brief surge of something ran through him, not pain, not exactly, but pressure, like his body was being adjusted from the inside out. Level 2. Class. Unassigned. Attribute points available. 5. New function unlocked. Basic status control. Ethan inhaled sharply. Okay, he said. That's different. Marcus leaned in. Different how? I can feel it, Ethan said, trying to find the words. Like something just expanded. Arya nodded slightly. That's normal. That's normal, Marcus repeated. For now, she said. Lila crossed her arms. All right, pause. We need to actually understand what's happening here. Arya glanced around once more, then gave a short nod. Fine. Quick version. She held up a hand, counting off on her fingers. The system assigns levels. You gain experience by surviving, fighting, completing objectives, whatever it decides counts. Leveling up makes you stronger, faster, harder to kill. Cool, Marcus said. Love that. Hate the reason for it, but love that. Second, Arya continued, ignoring him. At a certain point you get a class. That defines how you grow, skills, abilities, all of it. Ethan glanced at his still unassigned status. When does that happen? Soon, she said. Usually around level 3 or 4. Sometimes earlier if you trigger something specific. Marcus pointed at Ethan. He already did something specific. Arya's eyes flicked to Ethan. Yeah, she said. He did. Ethan shifted slightly under the look. It was just analyze. It's never just anything anymore, Arya replied. Lila gestured toward the road. And the monsters? Part of it, Arya said. Dungeon ecosystem, I think. They spawn, they evolve, they get stronger. Same as us. Great, Marcus muttered. So everything's leveling up. Fantastic. Ethan looked down at his hand, still holding the broken wood. He loosened his grip and let it fall. We need better weapons, he said. Arya almost smiled. Now you're thinking. Behind them, one of the survivors spoke up. A middle-aged man with a bandaged arm. Is it over? Arya didn't answer immediately. She looked out at the road, at the cracks still glowing faintly in the distance, at the doors barely visible beyond the buildings. Then she shook her head. No, she said. That was the start. Silence settled over the group. Heavy, uncertain. Then the system pulsed again. Not just for Ethan. For all of them. A faint shimmer passed through the air, visible this time. Not just in their vision, but in the space around them. Global Event Update. Phase 1. Initialization. Complete. Phase 2. Expansion beginning. New objectives will be assigned. Please prepare. Marcus stared at nothing. I really don't like the sound of that. Doesn't matter, Arya said quietly. It's happening anyway. Ethan felt it again. That shift. Not just in himself, but in the world. Something deeper, bigger, like the planet itself was opening further. He looked down the road, and this time, he didn't just see danger. He saw paths, choices, and for the first time he understood something that hadn't fully clicked before. This wasn't just survival. It was progression, and whether he liked it or not, he was already part of it. The silence didn't last. It never did anymore. At first, it was subtle. A low hum beneath the air, barely noticeable unless you were already paying attention. But Ethan felt it immediately, that same strange resonance that had preceded everything else. You feel that? He asked. Arya didn't answer right away. She was already looking up. Yeah, she said quietly. That's not good. Marcus groaned. Can we get 1 minute? Just one? I'd even take 30 seconds. The hum deepened. Then the sky changed. Not darkening. Not clouding. Shifting. The light bent again just like before. But this time it didn't snap back. The pale haze above them thickened, swirling slowly as if something massive was moving behind it. Lila stepped closer to Ethan. That wasn't happening earlier. No, he said. It wasn't. The system flickered. Not in their vision. In the world. Lines, faint, geometric, almost invisible, began to appear in the air, stretching across the sky in a vast, interconnected pattern. They pulsed softly, forming shapes too large to fully comprehend from the ground. Are those grids? Marcus asked. Arya's expression hardened. No. Then what? Layers. The word hung there, unsettling. The hum intensified. Then, something descended. It didn't fall. It phased. A section of the sky, no, not the sky, something behind it, slid downward, overlapping reality like a second image failing to align properly. For a moment, both spaces existed at once. Then they merged. The ground shook. Not violently, decisively. A pulse of force spread outward, passing through everything, buildings, cars, people. Ethan felt it move through him, like a ripple through water. Warning. Environmental shift detected. Dungeon layer integration. Active. Integration. Lila repeated. What does that mean? Arya didn't look away from the sky. It means this isn't just happening under us anymore. The answer came a second later. The field across the road changed. Grass twisted, flattening in unnatural patterns as the ground beneath it reshaped itself. Lines carved into the earth, forming symmetrical paths that hadn't existed before. Stone erupted, not violently, but smoothly, rising from the soil in clean, structured forms. Walls, not ruins, not debris, architecture. A corridor formed in the open air, its entrance framed by the same dark stone as the doors, its interior stretching far beyond what the space should allow. Marcus stared. You've got to be kidding me. We just cleared one area, Lila said. And now it's making another? Not another, Arya said. She finally looked away from the sky. An extension. Ethan's vision flickered again. New zone discovered. Designation. Surface dungeon. Fragment 01. Threat level low moderate. Recommended level 2 to 4. Reward scaling. Active. It's giving us recommendations now, Ethan said. Marcus threw his hands up. Oh good. Because I was just thinking I needed a travel guide for the apocalypse. Arya ignored him, her focus locked on the newly formed corridor. This is how it spreads, she said. Not just underground. Anywhere it can anchor. Lila frowned. So what? The whole world just turns into this? Eventually, Arya said. Yeah. That landed hard. The survivors behind them shifted uneasily, whispers spreading through the group. We can't stay here, one of them said. More of those things will come. They're right, Lila said. We need somewhere safer. Marcus gestured wildly at the forming dungeon. And that looks safe to you? No, she said. But it's structured. Predictable, at least compared to random spawns. Arya nodded. She's right. Marcus blinked. Wait, really? Out here, Arya said, gesturing to the open road. We get waves. Unpredictable, scaling fast. In there, she pointed toward the corridor. We get rooms, encounters, patterns. Ethan looked at the entrance. Dark, silent, waiting. You've been inside one, he said. Arya hesitated, then nodded once. Yeah, she said. Marcus stared at her. And you didn't lead with that? There wasn't time, she replied. There's still not time, he shot back. Ethan stepped forward slightly, his eyes narrowing as he focused on the entrance. Analyze. The command triggered, but this time it didn't lock onto a creature. It spread. The corridor flickered in his vision, lines tracing along its structure, highlighting pathways, intersections, possible routes. Structural analysis, partial, layout, variable, hazard density, moderate, resource potential, detected. It's not random, Ethan said. It's designed. Arya glanced at him. Yeah, that's the point. Lila crossed her arms. So we choose. Stay out here and deal with waves, or go in there and deal with whatever that is. Marcus groaned. Those are both terrible options. Welcome to the new world, Arya said. Silence fell again. Shorter this time. Sharper. Ethan looked back at the group. The injured, the shaken, the people who hadn't even fully processed what had already happened. Then he looked at the corridor. At the faint glow within. At the path unfolding in front of him. The system pulsed. New objective available. Enter surface dungeon. Reward. Increased growth rate. Risk. Elevated. He exhaled slowly. If we're going to survive, he said, we can't just react anymore. Marcus rubbed his face. I hate that you're about to say something that makes sense. Ethan looked at Arya. Then at Lila. We go in, he said. Lila didn't hesitate. Yeah. Marcus sighed. Of course you both say that. Arya studied Ethan for a moment, then gave a small, approving nod. All right, she said. Then we do it properly. She stepped toward the entrance, her posture shifting. Focused. Ready. Stay close. Watch everything. And don't assume anything in there works like it should. Marcus muttered under his breath. Because anything so far has made sense. Ethan stepped forward, stopping just at the threshold. The air felt different here. Cooler. Denser. Like stepping into a space that didn't fully belong to the same world. He hesitated for just a second. Then, he crossed the line. And the dungeon welcomed them. The moment Ethan crossed the threshold, the world snapped. Not visually. There was no dramatic flash, no tunnel of light. But something in the feel of reality changed so abruptly it made his stomach lurch. The sound of the outside world cut off instantly. No wind. No distant sirens. No voices. Just silence so complete it felt engineered. Okay, Marcus said behind him, his voice unnaturally loud in the enclosed space. I hate this already. Lila stepped in next, then Arya, who didn't hesitate at all. The entrance behind them didn't vanish, but it changed. The open field was gone, replaced by a solid stone archway that sealed itself into the corridor like it had always been part of the structure. Ethan turned once. The outside world was no longer visible. Only stone. Only dim, shifting light embedded in the walls like veins. We're inside, Lila said quietly. Arya nodded once. Yeah. Marcus looked around. Inside what exactly? Because I don't like how inside is becoming a permanent lifestyle. Ethan focused forward. The corridor stretched ahead in a straight line for maybe 20 meters before branching into two paths. The walls were smooth, too smooth to be natural, etched with faint geometric patterns that shifted subtly when he wasn't looking directly at them. His vision flickered. Analyze active. Structure. Surface dungeon. Fragment 01. Stability. Moderate. Rule set. Partial. It's different, Ethan muttered. Arya glanced at him. What is? The rules, he said. They feel more stable in here. Marcus scoffed. That's your takeaway? Oh good. The apocalypse is slightly more organized indoors. Lila ignored him, kneeling briefly to touch the floor. This isn't concrete. Ethan crouched as well, brushing his fingers across the surface. Stone. But not stone he recognized. It was warm, not physically, emotionally, like it retained something. It's reacting, he said. Arya nodded. Dungeon materials do that. They adapt. Marcus raised an eyebrow. That sentence should not be normal. A faint sound echoed down the corridor. Not loud, not sharp. A distant shifting, like something moving just out of sight. Everyone froze. Ethan straightened slowly. That wasn't us. No, Arya said quietly. That's not us. The sound came again, closer, then stopped. Silence returned, but it felt heavier than before. We should move, Lila said. Arya was already walking. Stay in formation, she said. Ethan up front. He's got analysis. Marcus behind him. Lila covers the rear. I'll handle anything that breaks formation. Marcus blinked. I'm sorry. Why am I not in charge? Arya didn't look back. Because you complain too much. That's not a qualification system. It is now, she said flatly. Ethan exhaled and started forward. The corridor narrowed slightly as they walked, the geometry shifting in subtle ways that made it hard to track distance. The air felt still, but not empty, like pressure waiting to move. After maybe a minute of walking, the first change appeared. A symbol on the wall lit up. Then another. Then another. They pulsed faintly, syncing together like a system coming online. That's new, Marcus said nervously. Ethan stopped. His vision flickered violently. Analyze error. Structure alteration detected. Ethan? Lila asked. He held up a hand. Something's changing. Arya stepped closer. How? Before Ethan could answer, the corridor shifted. The walls moved. Not collapsing, reconfiguring. Stone slid across stone with a soft grinding sound as the straight path behind them sealed off. The corridor ahead expanded, branching suddenly into 3 directions where there had only been one. Marcus slowly turned his head. Okay, that's cheating. New dungeon state. Active configuration. Ethan felt his stomach tighten. It's adapting to us, he said. Arya nodded once. Or testing us. A soft sound echoed from one of the new branches. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Everyone turned toward it. Marcus raised his pipe. Please tell me that's not another bug situation. Arya didn't answer, because something stepped into view. It wasn't a scuttler. It wasn't anything they'd seen before. Humanoid in shape, but wrong in proportion. Its limbs were too long, joints bending slightly out of alignment. Its face was smooth, featureless except for a single vertical slit that pulsed faintly with the same light as the walls. And it was holding something, a shard of stone shaped like a blade. Ethan's interface flared instantly. Analyze initiated. Entity. Dungeon Warden minor. Threat. Unknown. Behavior. Guardian type. Guard, Ethan said slowly. Arya's stance shifted immediately. Everyone back. Marcus tightened his grip. That's a guard. That's a nightmare in a trench coat. The warden tilted its head. Then it moved. Fast. Too fast. It closed the distance in a blur. Its stone blade slicing through the air toward Arya. She dodged but barely. The blade struck the wall behind her, carving through it like it was soft clay. Ethan felt it immediately. This thing was not like the swarm. It wasn't coordinated. It wasn't expendable. It was built. Don't let it set rhythm. Arya snapped. Marcus lunged forward, swinging his pipe. The warden caught it mid-air. With one hand, the pipe bent slightly under its grip. Marcus froze. Oh, that's not good. The warden twisted. The pipe snapped. Ethan reacted instantly, stepping in and striking the exposed joint under its arm. Crack. The creature staggered but didn't fall. Instead, it turned its head slowly toward Ethan, as if noticing him properly for the first time. And the slit in its face pulsed brighter. Error. Unregistered variable detected. Ethan felt a chill run through him. That's me, he said quietly. Arya's eyes narrowed. Yeah, she said. It sees you differently. The warden raised its blade again. But this time, it didn't attack Arya. It attacked Ethan. The strike came straight for Ethan's center mass. No hesitation. No feint. No wasted motion. Just execution. Ethan moved on instinct. He twisted sideways, the stone blade slicing past so close it scraped the air beside his ribs. The impact wave alone made his skin sting. Ethan! Lila shouted. The warden didn't follow through wildly like the scuttler's had. It corrected instantly, too instantly, rotating its entire body in a controlled mechanical adjustment. Arya stepped in from the side, aiming for its exposed flank. Her strike landed. Crack. The warden's torso fractured slightly, but instead of collapsing, the crack sealed almost immediately, the stone knitting itself back together as if reversing damage. It regenerates, Arya said sharply. Marcus backed up a step. Everything regenerates. What is this place's obsession with unfair mechanics? The warden pivoted again, this time toward Arya. Then Ethan felt it, like a tug in his vision. Analyze active. Pattern detected. The warden wasn't reacting randomly. It was prioritizing targets based on something. Arya, move! Ethan shouted. She didn't question it. She shifted just as the blade came down where she'd been standing. The strike carved a shallow groove into the floor, stone splitting cleanly. Ethan focused harder. The lines in his vision sharpened. Target priority sequence forming. He saw it. The warden wasn't choosing randomly. It was ranking them. Ethan, Arya, then Lila, then Marcus. It's targeting by threat level, Ethan said quickly. Or something close to it. Marcus frowned mid-dodge. Oh great, I'm last. That's actually insulting. The warden turned again. Too fast, too precise, and lunged at Ethan. Arya intercepted halfway, grabbing its arm mid-swing. For a moment they locked. Stone against human. Neither moving. Then the warden's arm began to rotate. Not break. Rotate. Arya's grip slipped as the limb twisted unnaturally, slipping out of alignment like a joint that didn't obey anatomy. It's reconfiguring mid-fight, she snapped. Ethan stepped in again, striking the joint Arya had been holding. Crack. This time the fracture spread further, but still didn't fully stop it. The warden retaliated immediately, snapping its elbow backward in a movement that should not have been possible, catching Ethan in the shoulder. Pain exploded through him. Warning. Impact damage, moderate. Ethan stumbled back, barely staying upright. Marcus surged forward with the broken pipe section still in his hand, swinging wildly. The warden caught it again. This time it didn't just break it, crushed it. The metal bent inward like foil before snapping apart entirely. Marcus stared at the remains. Okay, I officially have nothing left. Lila moved in next, aiming low. She struck the warden's leg joint with a metal rod salvaged from the corridor debris. The impact actually worked. The warden's stance shifted slightly. Got it, she said. But then the warden looked at her, and Lila froze. Not physically, mentally. Ethan saw it happen. Her body locking up for a fraction of a second as the warden's slit-like face pulsed brighter. Status effect detected. Lila! Ethan shouted. Arya moved instantly, striking the warden hard enough to break its attention. Lila gasped, stumbling back. What was that? Pressure effect, Arya said sharply. It's trying to control focus. Don't lock eyes too long. Marcus swallowed. Cool. Cool. Don't look at the murder statue. Got it. The warden reoriented again. But now something had changed. Ethan felt it before he saw it. The dungeon itself was responding. The walls pulsed faintly. The corridor behind them shifted again, narrowing slightly. We're being contained, Ethan said. Arya's expression hardened. It's trying to box us in. Marcus looked over his shoulder. We should probably not be boxed in. No kidding, Lila snapped. The warden raised its blade again, but paused. For the first time, it hesitated. Ethan narrowed his eyes. It's waiting, he said. For what? Marcus asked. Ethan focused on the interface again. Analyze. Deeper this time. Straining. The warden flickered in his vision. And beneath it, something else. Faint network. Lines extending through the dungeon walls. Connections. It's not alone, Ethan said quietly. Arya's eyes sharpened. What? Before Ethan could answer, the corridor behind them sealed completely. Stones slammed into place with a heavy, final sound. And from the newly sealed walls, a second pulse answered the first.